All right, so get this. We just crunched through over 500 minutes of AI news.
Yeah, we dove deep into Reddit, Twitter, and especially Discord, just to bring you the most interesting parts of AI Daily News Digest.
For February 26th, 2025.
You got a ton of stuff out there, so...
There's a lot to unpack here.
Oh,
We've got some major releases.
oh yeah.
Some spicy performance comparisons.
Definitely.
Even some potential, whispers about paradigm shifts in AI hardware.
If you're tired of scrolling, this is the place to be.
So first up, let's talk about Anthropic's latest and greatest.
Okay.
Claude 3.7 Sonnet.
Yeah, this is really sending shockwaves through the AI community.
Why is that?
It's a hybrid model.
A hybrid model.
Meaning that it can operate in both standard mode and a new thinking mode.
Thinking mode, what's that?
So in standard mode, it's just like any other language model. You give it a prompt, it generates text.
Right.
But in thinking mode, it uses these special thinking tokens to break down complex tasks into steps.
So it's like actually thinking about the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Step by step.
Yeah. And it seems to be really paying off cause in these recent benchmarks, like VBench and Ader's polyglot leaderboard, Claude 3.7 is at the top.
That's awesome.
Even beating out some of the big names like OpenAI's GPT-4 and Google's Gemini.
Wow.
Especially in these tasks that require really complex reasoning and coding skills.
So it's really good at coding.
Yeah, it's showing some real promise in that area.
But you mentioned these thinking tokens,
Yeah.
What are those? How do they actually work?
Okay, so they're not just about giving the model more time.
Okay.
These thinking tokens are like explicit instructions for the model's reasoning process.
Interesting.
Think of it like a roadmap.
Okay.
You know, it helps the model break down these really complex tasks into more manageable pieces.
It was like a strategy for problem solving.
Exactly, and we're seeing some remarkable results.
Like what?
We're seeing accuracy levels that we haven't seen before, especially when we're using these thinking tokens.
Oh, wow.
For example, it hit 65% accuracy on Ader's polyglot leaderboard,
Okay.
which is a big jump. It's huge.
From what we've seen in the past?
But, I mean, there's always a catch, right?
Well, the catch is that these thinking tokens, they come at a price. Anthropic has increased the cost of using this feature.
Oh, really?
And it's got people talking,
Yeah.
Is it worth the extra cost for that performance gain?
Yeah, is it just hype or is this like the future?
Yeah, is this the future of AI?
That's the question.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
So let's shift gears a little bit, talk about a release that has the open source community really buzzing.
Right.
Alibaba's 2.1.
2.1, yeah, this one's exciting.
This is a video generation model
Yeah.
that's currently at the top of the VBench leaderboard, which is a pretty good deal.
Oh, yeah, it's turning heads because it's doing better than some of the biggest commercial models out there.
That's crazy.
For an open source model, that's a big deal.
Why is that such a big deal?
Well, for one, it challenges this idea that only these giant companies with tons of resources can create these cutting-edge AI models.
Like David and Goliath. Yeah, it's really leveling the playing field because anyone can modify it.
That's awesome.
And this could lead to like a burst of innovation in the video generation world.
I love that. So it's all about democratizing AI.
Exactly.
Which is a really great thing.
Making these tools accessible to everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
And what's even more exciting is that the 1.3B parameter version can run on a consumer-grade GPU with just 8 gigabytes of VRAM.
Wait, so you're telling me that I could use this model to make incredible videos on my, regular computer?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome.
This accessibility is a game changer.
Yeah.
So many more people can experiment with this, push the boundaries.
I'm sold.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So before we move on, there's another open source release that I want to touch on.
Okay.
DeepSeek's DeepEP.
All right.
This is a communication library.
Yeah.
For those complex MOE models.
Yeah, for those mixture of experts models.
So this is a little more on the technical.
So it's a little more in the weeds.
But it's still really significant.
Yeah, the big deal.
Because imagine an AI model that's like a team of specialists.
Okay.
Each one's an expert at a specific task.
Right.
But they have to work together.
Yeah.
Right? These are the mixture of experts models.
Exactly.
They can be super powerful.
Yeah, incredibly powerful, but also very resource intensive. They can be really hard to train.
Yeah.
And that's where DeepEP comes in. It optimizes how these experts talk to each other, making the whole system way more efficient.
So it's like a project manager for AI.
You got it. It's all about streamlining that collaboration.
Love that. So collaboration is key, even in AI.
It's always key.
That's great. So speaking of collaboration, let's talk about Revlet Agent V2, which is all about building AI agents right in your browser.
This is a cool one.
Okay.
It's still in early access.
Okay.
People are already really excited about it.
Why is that?
Because it's a really user-friendly way to create and play around with these AI agents, even if you're not a coding whiz.
So you don't have to be like a super expert to use this?
No, not at all.
That's great. So what kind of agents are we talking about here?
Well, you can build agents that can do all sorts of things, like summarizing documents, writing different kinds of creative content.
Interesting.
Answering your questions in an informative way, even translating languages.
Wow.
So it really opens up a ton of possibilities.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check this out.
You should. It's pretty cool.
Put it on my list.
All right.
So we've covered some really exciting releases, some new models, new tools.
For sure.
And a lot of buzz around this open source community.
It's a vibrant community.
Yeah, it feels like the AI world is just like moving at warp speed these days.
It really is. There's always something new happening.
Which is exciting and a little overwhelming.
It can be a little bit of both.
But we've only just scratched the surface here.
Right. We still have a lot more to unpack.
Yeah, we've got to dive into those benchmarks a little deeper.
Yes, Sally.
Talk about what's going on with the hardware side of things.
The hardware is always evolving.
Because that's really important too.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going.
Let's dive deeper.
Shall we?
Let's do it. Okay, so let's talk benchmarks.
Yeah, I want to hear about these benchmarks.
Because today's digest is jam-packed with insights into how these models are actually performing, you know?
Yeah, in the real world.
Yeah, not just theory.
I'm all about that.
Got to see how they actually stack up.
Yeah.
So one benchmark that's causing quite a stir is Kagi's LLM benchmarking project.
Okay.
And their latest results show Google's Gemini 2.0 Pro actually taking the lead.
Oh, really?
Over Claude 3.7 Sonnet.
Wow.
And even OpenAI's GPT-4.
So Google's winning?
Yeah, it's a surprise given all the hype around Sonnet.
Yeah.
So it's sparked a lot of debate, you know?
What are they saying?
Well, is Kagi's methodology maybe favoring Gemini?
Oh, interesting.
Or does this signal a real shift in the AI landscape?
So we should take these results with a grain of salt, maybe.
It's always smart to consider the methodology and any potential biases.
Of course.
But even so, Gemini 2.0 Pro is clearly a contender.
For sure. Okay, so what other benchmarks are we looking at?
Another one worth checking out is the misguided attention evil.
Okay.
This one's super interesting.
Why is that?
Because it tests the model's ability to reason, even when it's given misleading information.
Oh, that's clever.
Like, can it sift through the noise and find the truth?
Yeah, like a real BS detector.
Exactly. And in this evaluation, Claude 3.7 Sonnet really stood out.
Okay.
It was really good at staying focused and not getting tricked by the bad info.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it showed a robustness that some of the other models seem to lack.
Okay, so one for Google, one for Anthropic.
Yeah, it's a close race.
It's like a boxing match.
Exactly.
What about that third benchmark you mentioned?
All right, so the final one is VBench.
Okay.
And this one focuses on evaluating models on actual coding tasks.
So this is the real deal.
This is where the rubber meets the road, and Claude 3.7 came out on top again.
Wow. So
Yeah.
even with those questions about Kagi's benchmark,
Yeah,
Claude is still proving itself.
definitely a top contender.
All right, so we can't forget about the hardware, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. The hardware's critical.
The stuff that makes it all happen.
The unsung heroes.
Yeah, what's going on in the hardware world?
So one of the hottest debates right now is whether traditional RNN architectures can handle these massive LLMs.
RNNs, that rings a bell.
Yeah, recurrent neural networks.
Right, like the classic language processing architecture.
Exactly. But as these models get bigger and more complex,
Yeah, they're huge.
some experts are starting to think that RNNs might be hitting their limits.
Really?
Yeah, they might not be the most efficient way to go.
Interesting. So what are they proposing instead?
Well, there's a lot of buzz about taking inspiration from the human brain.
Oh, man.
You know how it can process information in this massively parallel way?
So like instead of one central processing unit,
Right.
it's more like a network,
Yeah, more distributed, like a network.
like the brain?
Exactly like the brain. And this could lead to a whole new paradigm for AI hardware.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
It's a whole new way of thinking about computing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what else is happening on the hardware front?
Another fascinating idea is this thing called speculative decoding.
Okay, I haven't heard of that.
So basically, it uses a smaller, faster model
Okay.
to kind of predict what a larger model is going to generate.
Oh, that's clever.
It's like a sneak peek.
So you can kind of get a head start.
Exactly. And this can speed up the whole process without sacrificing too much quality.
That's awesome, especially for like, if you're working on your own computer.
Yeah, for local use where resources are limited.
Exactly. All right, so it seems like the theme here is making these powerful AI models more accessible and efficient.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game.
So much cool stuff happening.
It's just the beginning.
Now, I know we've got a few more things from today's digest that we want to cover.
Oh, yeah, there's still some gems left.
Yeah, like OmoCR and Google VO2 and Minions.
Don't forget about Gemma 3.
Oh, yeah, Gemma 3.
Lots to talk about.
Okay, let's dive into those next. All right, let's unpack these other developments you mentioned, starting with OmoCR World. What is that all about?
So OmoCR is making some serious waves in the OCR world.
OCR, optical character recognition, right?
It's all about converting images of text into something machines can read.
Right, like scanning a document.
Exactly, and OmoCR is really pushing the boundaries here.
Oh, so?
Well, it's specifically designed to handle those tricky situations, like recognizing text in bad lighting or on a busy background.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I can see how that would be useful for so many things.
Oh, yeah, tons of applications.
Like what?
Think about digitizing old documents or automating data entry.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's open source, right?
Yep, so developers can easily integrate it into their projects.
So it's all about making OCR more powerful and accessible.
Exactly.
I like it. Now, what about Google VO2? I feel like I've heard of that before.
Yeah, VO was Google's experimental video editing tool that used AI to make editing super easy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But VO2 takes it to a whole new level.
How so?
They've introduced this thing called cinematic understanding.
Cinematic understanding.
Yeah, basically the AI can now analyze your footage and understand what's happening in each scene.
So it's like it can actually watch the video and understand it.
Yeah, it can identify the characters, the objects, even the mood of the scene.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What does that mean for editors?
It means they can work way faster.
Okay.
And more intuitively, for example, imagine you want to cut out all the scenes with a certain character.
Okay.
You could literally just tell VO2 to do that.
No way.
And it would automatically find and remove those scenes.
That would save so much time.
Tons of time.
It's like having an AI assistant who understands film.
Pretty much.
Okay, so what else can it do?
Well, it can also suggest creative edits.
Oh, really?
Like adding transitions or visual effects based on what it understands about the footage.
That's insane.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to check this out.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Minions. That one definitely caught my attention.
All right, so Minions is this new platform that's really shaking up the AI model training world.
Okay.
Think of it like a marketplace for computing resources.
A marketplace for computing resources.
Yeah, because training these big AI models requires a ton of computing power.
Oh, yeah, it's super resource intensive.
Exactly, and that can get really expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
So what Minions does is it connects people who have spare computing power with people who need it for training.
So it's like Airbnb for GPUs.
That's a great way to put it.
That's awesome.
And it's a game changer because it means anyone with a decent computer can contribute to training the next generation of AI models.
I love that it's like democratizing AI development.
Exactly.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, we've got Gemma 3. What's special about this one?
So Gemma 3 is an AI-powered personal assistant.
Okay.
But what sets it apart is its focus on privacy and user control.
Privacy, that's always a big concern with AI.
Yeah, for sure. But Gemma 3 tackles this head-on.
Ah,
All the data processing happens locally on your device.
Okay.
So your information never leaves your control.
So it's like a super smart assistant, but it also respects your privacy.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it can do all the usual stuff.
Like what?
Manage your schedule, answer your questions, even control your smart home devices.
Okay.
But it does it all without sending your data to the cloud.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, it's a big step forward for privacy in the AI world.
So it seems like today's digest is full of examples of AI becoming more accessible, efficient, and user-friendly.
Absolutely. It's a really exciting time to be following this space.
Yeah, we've covered so much ground today.
We have. It's been a whirlwind.
But if I had to pick one key takeaway, it's that AI is evolving incredibly fast.
Yeah, the pace of innovation is mind-blowing.
And it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the impact it's having on our lives.
Right. It's changing how we work, how we communicate, how we create.
And the most exciting part is we're just getting started.
We're still in the early days. Who knows what the future holds?
That's the beauty of the future of AI is wide open.
And it's up to all of us to shape it responsibly.
Well said. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I always learn so much from our conversations.
Always a pleasure.
And to our listeners, Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.